thanks for choosing to watch the video. If you do enjoy it, then please like and subscribe and all that stuff. In this one, it's the 16th of June and the first day of the river season, and we're fishing for barbel. It's a glorious day and I'm out on the River Lea. It's right at the start of the season, and I wanted to do a video about barbel fishing, but I wanted to do one about barbel fishing specifically on small rivers. The rivers that are close to me, a lot of them are quite small. So I've got the River Lea, I've got the Rib, I've got the Bean, I've got the Stort, and all of these are relatively small rivers, you know, if you compare them to like the Severn or the Trent or the Thames, you know, these are tiny little rivers really. In my mind, barbel fishing isn't just barbel fishing. There's lots of different types of barbel fishing. And when I talk about small river barbel fishing, obviously I'm comparing it to the big rivers. The way you fish for barbel in a small river to a big river, it's just so different. Not that I've done an awful lot of big river barbel fishing, or in fact any. But from what I can see, you know, you've got a couple of rods, rod tips in the air, you're putting out a bed of bait, you're waiting for the fish to move in, and then you might get them on the feed and get multiple catches. It couldn't be further different from what I actually do on a small river. I think it suits my style of fishing because I do like stalking, I like moving around, setting little traps, I quite like the overgrown jungle environment. And yeah, just putting little traps in the edge, trickling bits of bait in here and there, fishing them in rotation, you know, just trying to nick a bite or two. That generally is the way that I fish for a lot of different species, and barbel's no different. Quite often I'll turn up at a venue and I'll trickle some bait in a number of different spots, likely looking spots, unless I see fish, in which case I'll try and catch them. But if I don't see much, I'll put bait in a number of different spots, 45 minutes to an hour in each spot. You know, I won't be too strict with that. Obviously, if I've been in a swim for 45 minutes but I can see signs of fish, you know, bubbles or swirls, or if I've even seen fish, then obviously I'm not going to move to the next swim. But as a general rule, only about 45 minutes in each swim trying to locate those fish. So like I say, it's the start of the season and you're going to join me out on the River Lea fishing in a few different locations to try and catch some barbel. Well, that is what you call a right rat hole. Tiny little stream on the Lea, barely 7 foot wide, I would say. 16th of June. Not fished this part of the river for 15 years. Of course it would be more straightforward to go somewhere that you know on the 16th, but I don't know, just fancy mixing it up and trying loads of new things just to keep it interesting. Let's see how we get on. A tiny little swim. Just peek over. Got chub and barbel there. Not huge, but I'd love to get one. Oh, here comes barbel into the swim. Really shallow, narrow river here. You can see the fish. Excellent, love this way of fishing. Just literally roaming the river, wait until I find them, then try and catch them. Just slowly flicking out a few pellets, not many, just a few at a time. Keeping really low, got plenty of cover here, but I need to keep my head down, resist the temptation to keep peeking over, which I invariably do. I can't help it. Right, so there's a couple of chub in the swim. A couple of chub and a barbel. In the end, decided just to move around and use my eyes. Got the Polaroids on. See if I can pick up a fish by sight. I'm not very good at sitting still. A few fish coming back in. Oh yeah, it's a barbel and a few chub down there. Come on. That's a barbel. Come on. Oh. Shit, now the speed of it. Get in, yes. Yes. Oh, magic. Oh. Go off like a rocket. Awesome. June the 16th, back on the river. Fished for carp this morning, got nothing. Come looking for barbel and chub on the Lea. Stunning little barbel. Sat in another swim for an hour, nothing happening. Had a stern word with myself, got on my toes. Wasn't going to fish for something until I saw it. Fed some pellets and just watched them, and eventually they came in. And this one nailed drilled pellet on the head. Lovely little fish. First barbel of the year and the first fish of the new river season. Awesome. Just love fishing these sort of locations. You know, there obviously hasn't been a working party here for quite a long time. You know, it's all built up, it's jungle warfare, I'm creeping around, covered in bites and scratches and stings, and that's just my kind of fishing. You know, I love it. I don't know what it's like fishing the big rivers for barbel. I can imagine you've got plenty of bank and you've got a huge river in front of you and you've got a couple of rods and I might be completely wrong, but to me this is like how I fish, you know, when I'm stalking for carp, when I'm moving about and trying to catch perch, and it's so similar to that for me. You know, it's short sessions, minimum amount of gear, which you're probably sick of hearing me say now. Short sessions, minimum amount of gear, trying to find the fish, setting lots of little traps and just getting a few bites. And my barbel fishing is no different. Could you apply that to a large river? I don't know, because I don't fish them, but I would imagine the approach is really quite different, and from what I've seen it looks like it is quite different. The rod tip is going crazy. Go on, go. Yes. Oh, it looks like a good chub. Oh, we can't let him go in there. Oh. Right. Got to scoop him up. Come on, scoop him up. Let's not mess about. Yes. Jungle warfare. Epic. And a lovely little June the 16th chub. Found a spot that's got a few fish now. Oops, struggled at first to find them, but now found them, getting a few on pellets. I'm just loving being out on June the 16th. Just quickly go through the gear that I use as well. I don't like to take an awful lot of stuff. I'll take a compact rucksack. To that rucksack I can put my bank sticks on the top, I can clip my roll mat to the bottom, And that's most of the stuff that I need there. I'll have one rod, one reel, and a net, and that's it. You know, I wanna be mobile. I have started to sometimes take a chair, but only because I've got this new chair that's really light. And I'm getting old, and sitting on an unhooking mat or on a bucket is losing its appeal slightly. Honestly, it's so light, it's feather light, and so yeah, it's quite nice now to be able to take a chair. But I do still like to keep everything to an absolute minimum. So in terms of the rod, I think people think maybe on small rivers you might not need the big heavy rods that you use on the big rivers. In actual fact, I think you almost need even more stout a tackle. You know, you need stuff that can really hold these fish in tight locations. Don't forget, you know, these little rivers, they're like jungles. You know, you're fishing a lot of snags. Sometimes you can't give an inch, so I don't go in light. I've got 2¼ pound test curve rods. I'm using the Opportunist, Korum Opportunist 2.25 10 foot long. With that, I've got a 4000 size reel, and I've got 15-pound line on that. You know, I have been known to drop down to 12, but I just keep my 15 on now because, you know, these barbel, they really do pull back. Even the ones that aren't that big, they go off like an absolute rocket. You need to be able to hold them. So yeah, that's the outfit that I'm using. So I just want to talk quickly about the rig. I've got a 15-pound main line, nice strong tough main line. I'm actually using the camo bolt and run kit. So if you look at it there, look how nicely that comes away from the hook length there. And what's cool about this kit is it's got this little groove that sits here, and the large run ring on the lead that also comes as part of the kit just fits in that groove just nicely, and it sits there in the groove, and then when the fish picks up the bait, what happens is it moves off with the bait. You get the bolt effect of the lead because of the groove that's in the kit, but then once it's done its job and the fish shakes its head, it breaks free and it runs up the line and it turns into a running rig, hence the bolt and run. So yeah, great bit of kit, really like that. What actually comes in the kit, the bit that's got the groove on it, the clever bit there, the large run ring, quick change swivel, and you get an anti-tangle sleeve as well. So that is the camo bolt and run kit. But as I say, so 15-pound line, the bolt and run kit, then I've got 60-gram lead, flat lead I prefer to use, just holds bottom a little bit better. Let's say the anti-tangle sleeve that comes in the kit. I'm using 20-pound micro braid, size 6 specimen hook with a little kicker, tiny bit of shrink tube just to make sure that the hair's not flapping around all over the place, and then I've got a couple of drill pellets on the hair. Now the important thing to talk about there, I think, is the length of this hook length. You know, it's only about 8-9 inches long, and if you compare that to what we're told about barbel rigs, you know, when people say, you know, 4 foot 3, 4, 5 foot long rigs to be used for barbel, I don't use those. I think they're too cumbersome on small rivers. You know, when you're trying to get a bait under a bush or in a little hole somewhere or under a tree, you know, you can't do that with a really long rig. You need more control over what you're doing, and in that situation a much shorter rig is needed. Something that you must consider though, I guess, is because you've got that short rig, and something that I try to do is that I don't want the main line coming up off of the lead. You know, I don't want my rod tips right up in the air like you do see barbel anglers doing. If I'm going to use a short rig, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to have a really low line lay coming off the lead, so I'm actually wanting my rod tips down. Obviously, in this video you may have seen my rod tips up going over vegetation. If you're having to fish over reeds or something like that, then you really haven't got much choice, and in that scenario I would probably try and use a slightly longer rig, but most of the time I'm trying to use a 9-inch rig and I'm trying to keep the rod tips down so that I'm not consistently getting line bites when fish are actually swimming and spooking off the line. That's the last thing you want. So there you go. That is the rig that I use on small rivers for barbel. So we've got a bit of a unique situation here that is well, unique to small river fishing, and that is I'm using a short rig because I want to get into sort of in the bushes and stuff like that, and I need to get that line lay low. I can't get my rod tips low enough, and that's when I need to use a back lead. So I quickly ran to the car, got my back leads. Should have been in my bag really, to be fair, because I've got fish spooking off the line where I can't get my tips low enough. So there you go, there's my back leads. I prefer that style of back lead, the little sort of button style, a little bit more discreet. Don't really like these big ones, but I haven't got many of these. And also I'm not absolutely sure if these are going to hold bottom in the flow, so it might not be such a bad thing that we got these as well. The main thing is, if we put these on the line, we can keep the line pinned to the bottom and stop spooking the fish. This is why you need strong gear. I'm not going to mess about with this. Oh, wow. Wow. Jesus Christ, they move. No. God, the hook hold has to be so good. Oh, it's so powerful, and it's not even a big fish. They are so powerful for their size. Oh, he's gone straight in the net. Oh, sheesh. That is crazy. Oh, the speed of them, considering its size, that is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Bit bigger than the last one, I think. We failed on the river this morning when we were carp fishing. That was some sort of 15 miles away from here. Failed on the river for carp, but not to be deterred, we've come to a completely different location, and this afternoon we've had a couple of barbel, a chub, and I'm really happy with that. And I think it's boiling hot. I'm going to go and find some shade for a bit, and then I'm going to go to my final location this evening, a few miles upstream, I think. But really happy with what I've had in this little location. It's been really fun fishing, and that's another gorgeous barbel. In terms of bait, I normally use pellets for the feed. I use pellets an awful lot in numerous different sizes, mainly in 6mm and 8mm. What you've got to consider, of course, with pellets and the size of the pellets is the speed of the flow. So where you feed them, obviously, that's not where they're going to land. The smaller, the lighter the pellet, the further it's going to travel in the water. So don't mix them all up in one bag. That's a nightmare. Keep them in separate bags. But do use a couple of different sizes if you can, just to keep them guessing in terms of what they're picking up. In terms of what types of pellets to use, like marine or halibut pellets, they're absolutely fine. I've been using these cheese and garlic pellets by Sonobase, and they absolutely ming, but they are catching fish. In terms of the bait that I use on the hair, I will either use drill pellets, so the pellet O's, alternatively I'll use trimmed down boilies or dumbbell boilies. I'll use those on the hair. Sometimes what I might do, I sometimes prepare my own paste. The way that I do that is that I get some 6mm pellets, I put boiling water on those, I leave those almost overnight. Next day I might need to add some ground bait to stiffen it up a bit, but then I can turn it into a paste, and then that paste, some of it I'll put in a pot and and some of it I will put in the freezer, and then each time I want to use it I can just take a bit out of the freezer and use it, and that's quite useful for moulding around the bait, or sometimes I even mould it around the lead. But generally speaking, my bait is kept to pretty much pellet and boilies. I do like these tiny little rivers. Yeah, small river barbel. Of course, small rivers don't necessarily mean small barbel. So let's hope our luck is in at this third location. So I'm in the third location of the day. Was carp fishing at dawn. Unfortunately didn't get anything. Only a short, I was only there a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours, from about 4:30 till 7:30, 8 o'clock. But nothing happened, and I was surprised because I found carp, I saw carp, but nothing happened. Moved to the second location, probably fished 3 or 4 swims in that second location, and caught a couple of barbel, a couple of chub, but nothing big. But great fun and great to be on the river. I've come to the third location now. It's about 5 miles upstream from the other location, from the second location, and yeah, let's see how we're getting on this one. Third location of the day, opening day, June the 16th. Struck gold at the third. Really nice barbel. Look at that. Well happy with that. Not quite double figures, but what a fantastic fish. Really pleased with that on the opening day. And we've still got a few hours left. I tried really hard, but I didn't get anything else through the evening, but I didn't care. I've really enjoyed my June the 16th, and it was great to share it with you. That, of course, just is my general approach to barbel fishing. There are other ways that I fish for them, things like rolling meat and freelining. I love that type of fishing, and I will definitely be doing a video that covers that in the future. I don't know what I'll be fishing for next. We've got a nice warm spell of weather coming, so I might be stalking carp, or I've been meaning to get the lure rod out and maybe do some more crankbait fishing for the chub. Either way, I'm just so happy that the rivers are back open, and I hope you all had a blinding start to the river season 2. So thanks for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, then please like and subscribe and all that stuff. I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, look after yourselves, stay safe and be lucky.